G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel for the season player reviews video. Season 2024 has come to an end for the Hawks. What a year it was. And now we are going to be ranking the players from this year and who played amazing, who played not so good. Before we start, I just want to say that there's no Jasper Scaife or Ethan Phillips on this list, so we will not be ranking those players. And I got this idea off of Blue Broad's YouTube channel. He did it with the Carlton players. So I'm going to do it with the Hawthorn players now, and we have the same categories. So let's get started. And Carl Amon, the first player, he had an outstanding year. Racked up the disposals earlier on in the year. He was probably one of our more shining lights, him and a few others earlier in the year when we weren't playing as well. We weren't playing great football. Carl Amon really stood up and he was defending, and because his role is mainly attack off half-back flank, he was really having to defend and work his butt off, and he did that really well. And then I think after that, when we started playing some better footy, he got a bit more help down in that back line, so he went just a little bit more quiet, but I think he was a very consistent contributor for the Hawks this year, so I'm going to put him in that category. Next, the Irishman Connor Nash. He maybe didn't have a great year as last year. I knew that if he played his role, then our midfield would be one of the best that there was, and he played his role, and his role isn't a massive task. He plays on some big players. He plays on the Bonts and the Cripps and the really big-bodied mids like Petrarca and Harley Reid and all those blokes. So he just played his role, and then when they, for example, coming up against maybe like more of like an Essendon where they don't have massive bodied mids, or like he might have to just got under and really use his physical presence for the Hawks. So he really had to play more of a in and under, get his knees dirty sort of role, and he wasn't outstanding. He wasn't outstanding this season. He had a few really good games, and he was good against the Bulldogs in that finals game, and I had a feeling he would be good in the finals because he doesn't back out of any contest, and he really puts his body on the line. So I'm going to put him in occasional impact. I feel like I might be being a little bit tough on him here, but he's really pushing the consistent contributors category here. Next, on to Will Day, and this is a very hard one to judge because he played he played only half the season. He played a bit over half the season. Obviously, he had his stress fracture in his foot early in the season, which sidelined him till round 7, and that's when he came back against the Swans. But when he's been back, you can just see the shift in momentum. He's definitely one of our best. He's definitely one of our best, if not the best player out there. He's so hard at it. He's so tough. He doesn't back out. He just puts his body on the line, and he's such a two-minded player. He works so hard on defence, laying magnificent tackles and just putting his body on the line, and then when the ball's in our hands, he's just as good as he is in defence as he is in attack. He gets the ball, he runs, and he's by far one of our best players. But obviously, because he didn't play as much, obviously missed both the finals, he missed the last round and got injured against Richmond. I'm going to have to put him in below expectation because obviously everyone thought that maybe he would have gone and won our best and fairest again, but wasn't to be. He had some injury woes. And yeah, the time he was in, he was brilliant, but obviously he couldn't maintain that for the whole season, so I'm going to have to put Will Day in below expectations. And obviously that's not his fault, that's just some unlucky injuries. Dylan Moore, this one kind of speaks for itself. Very, very likely to win our best and fairest, the Peter Crimmins medal, is Dylan Moore. He's just... the way he works up the ground, and he's hard at it. He puts his head over the ball and he attracts a lot of free kicks, but not because of all the funky stuff that people complain about. He puts his head over the ball and he goes so hard in that the umpires respect it, and he puts his head over the ball and maybe gets taken high or gets some free kick, and then he goes back and he can play deep as well. He can kick goals from anywhere, and he kicks a lot of goals, but also his ability to then swing into the midfield if we need some extra speed or just some rattiness in the midfield. He's just amazing in both areas. So obviously Dylan Moore was an elite performer this year and probably likely to win the Peter Crimmins medal. Moving on to Jack Scrimshaw. I feel like Jack Scrimshaw was definitely one of the most underrated players in the competition, but definitely for Hawthorn. His ability to jump, no matter how outsized he is or outbodied or what position he's in, if he's in a bad position going into a contest, his ability to just jump, and he's so good off both feet too in a contest, and he can grab a mark, he can spoil it, he works so hard on defence. He's nearly there in the contest anytime you need him. And you don't really pay attention maybe enough to what key defenders do. And their role is to shut down the other key defenders, but also know when to go into the contest, know when to punch, know when to mark. And it can be very underrated sometimes. And Jack Scrimshaw, although his kicking was very iffy at some parts, he was one of our best players this season, and obviously probably doesn't get the credit he deserves, but him and Sam Frost were very strong in the back line after both having fairly quiet seasons last year, but they've both definitely improved, and Jack Scrimshaw is going to go into the consistent contributors category for now. Moving on to Blake Hardwick. Potentially the most another underrated player in the competition, and there's talks that he's the most underrated player there is at the moment in the competition. Probably didn't have the best season. He played well against Port Adelaide, but apart from that, he was quiet. But even in a really good year for Blake Hardwick, he mostly goes unnoticed, and say people might seem that he's quiet or just not doing as much as he normally would, or just not really in the contest. So maybe I've missed a few things that he's been doing, or what he does to instruct people and advise people and watch them develop. And I'm sure he has a big part of developing players like Brodie Ryan and Will McCabe and the young defenders coming through. But for me, his year has been decent. I feel like he's had occasional impact. But yeah, definitely hasn't been his best year, and I reckon he'll go back to the drawing board and come back stronger in 2025. So I'm going to go put him in the occasional impact now. Now moving on to one that's very interesting, Massimo D'Ambrosio. Now, it just shows that But yeah, I thought he had a pretty good year, John Newcomb, and although he didn't make the 40-man squad, I think he still deserves to go in the elite performers category. Next, moving on to Seamus Mitchell, and there's a couple of pathways you could go for him. He played a couple of games for us earlier in the year. Wasn't amazing. I thought that he was very lucky, I think, to keep his spot in the team. But he did get a few goes throughout the season, and I didn't think he played too well. But he's definitely playing well for Box Hill, and that run and carry sometimes what we need, and he's really quick too off half back, so sometimes we don't have enough of that. I know we have Weddle and Jath sometimes off half back, but yeah, I think Seamus Mitchell could get some more game time in the years to come. So I'm going to put him in needs development, but I think he'll be up there in a couple of years, maybe, if he keeps getting some game time. Henry Huswaite is a very interesting one. I think he only played the one game this year, 1 or 2. I know he played on Easter Monday against the Cats, and you wouldn't expect him to be that big and that tall, but he's actually the same height as Paddy Cripps, 195. So he's got that height. He's got a bit of strength. He's good. He's a tackling machine, Henry Huswaite. And I think sometimes Connor Nash does that really well. Newcomb sometimes when he's on the defending side of things, but I feel like Henry Huswaite definitely played his role during that game, and he was really good for Box Hill. I feel like he was stiff to miss out in sometimes. During the season, I feel like he could have had more game time, and I feel like he was all right against the Cats. But yeah, he's gonna go into the need development category. Although, no, I'm gonna. I'll put him in there for now, but I might switch a few things at the end. Jarman Impey, I think towards the business end of the season, the last 5 rounds where we started having to win to make finals, and if our season was on the knife's edge, and then going into the finals, I feel like Jarman Impey really stepped up and played a massive role. He was a bit quiet in the first half of the season, I thought, and then I think, coming in the last 5 rounds, he played very good against Collingwood, good against Adelaide, played amazing against Richmond, and then, he had a few good games, got his confidence up, and then played outstanding last week outstanding against Bulldogs, played really well against Port Adelaide off half back, so he was good when it mattered. I feel like he wasn't amazing at the start. I feel like he was a bit quiet, and I don't think it's fair to put him in below expectations. I think Impey was another one that was, we need him to have a good year, and he should have a good year, but he wasn't really one of the ones where, Impey's going to have a breakout season, or Impey's going to be amazing, and if he doesn't fire, they're done. But I feel like I'm going to put him in the occasional impact, and I might be a bit stiff because he is a very consistent player, but this year I feel like he just wasn't at his best. So I feel like that's fair to put him in occasional impact. Next to Warple, again, with a midfield with Newcomb and Day and Nash, and he's one of the ones that probably again, a bit like Amon and a couple of others, really put the team on his back in the first 3-4 rounds. And we weren't doing as well. And I feel like he really set the tone early, and then all the mids kind of followed his lead, and then maybe went to the back of the line a little bit towards the end. But he was very, very consistent during the season, and I'm almost pushing to put him in elite performers, because not only is he two-way midfielder, he can also sneak up forward and kick a goal, and that's sometimes very, very important. In a midfielder, you need mids that can hit the scoreboard, and players like Nash and sometimes Day, they struggle to hit the scoreboard a bit because they're more focused on mid work, which is fair enough. But Warple can sneak forward. He's a beautiful kick of the footy, and he can have a few flying shots on goal as well, and he's very crafty around the stoppage. And I think he was very consistent, especially early on, and mids kind of followed after him, so I'm going to put him in consistent contributors. Next to Sicily, and I think he has to go in elite performers. Anyone that makes the 40-man squad, even that doesn't get selected in the All-Australian, has to go in elite, because you've played elite to get there. You're with 40 of the best players in the league, and that means he was in the best 40 players this year. So you have to be pretty good to get there. There is some good intercept defenders going around at the moment. Harris Andrews is really good. So yeah, his role, and especially with a bung shoulder too, he missed, I think he missed 4 or 5 games with that shoulder injury. And then went forward and kicked 3 goals one game, and he kicked 2 a couple of other games. So he was able to hit the scoreboard, and really Sam Mitchell's was able to maximise him where he felt right when he had that shoulder injury, and that was really important for us, that they didn't say, oh well, just stay in the back line. They were crafty and they put him down forward, and he was able to hit the scoreboard. So I think Sicily has to go in elite performers, and it shows something that when you've dislocated your shoulder twice in the season, to still make the 40-man squad and be an elite performer shows something. So yeah. Next on to Ned Reeves, and there's a couple of categories you could put him in. Played the first 2 rounds of the season, and obviously going in to the season, everyone thought that he was going to be the main ruckman for the Hawks this year. And obviously he pretty much was for the first 2 rounds, and even though he was going to be the main ruckman, I don't think many of the Hawks fans were very happy in a way, because he's not a great player. I feel like we needed to get a new ruckman, or just try maybe a Ramsden or a Meek. And then he got dropped, and Meek really made it difficult for him to get in the team, back in the team, and I feel like it was just not his season. Ned Reeves, I just don't think he was good enough. I think he needs to go back to the drawing board, so I'm going to put him in below expectation, mate. 2 left, Sam Frost. What a year he had. I think at the end of last season, I don't think he was very happy with where he was at. He didn't have a great season in 2023. Key forwards were kicking bags on him. King, Mackay, Kerno, Wright, all those kicking, Larky, kicking 5-6 on him. And yeah, I don't think he has had some injury troubles in the past, and I just don't think he was 100% and in the right headspace. And then maybe started a little bit quiet earlier on, and then once we started winning games, he got some confidence because the back line, they were up and about, and he was too. And then the rest, he was just flying. He was taking intercept marks, he was taking it on, and although his kicking needs a bit of work, some might say, he was very good and played his role every single week, and he made key forwards very hard to score on him. He kept players like Mackay and Larky goalless when we played them. So, yeah, he definitely goes into consistent for me. And the last player, CJ. He had missed the first... I think he was played in round 11, so I think he missed the first 10 rounds with I think it was calf or hamstring maybe. I know it was something in the leg and a soft tissue injury, but so yeah, he was very unlucky, and then ended up he definitely suited Hawk ball. He was up and about, he had energy. CJ, Guinea and Watson and all those will loved having him in the team. But I just don't think he was playing. He was playing well, but I feel like when you look at the stat sheet, while 10 disposals, didn't have a great game, I feel like he was playing better than the stats suggested. And I feel like he definitely didn't have as good of a year as what a lot of people were hoping. We wanted to see him dashing through the midfield on the wings. He just didn't really get the opportunity, and then got injured again towards the end of the season. And then I think that was just the end for him. And then I think he struggled a bit to get back in the team in finals. So he probably goes in the below expectation for me. And yeah, hopefully with an injury-free season next year, has a better one. So yeah, I'm not sure to change anything. I'm just gonna see if any of these McDonald, Joss are on. No, I reckon I'm gonna leave it at that. So that is the final tier list ranking for the year 2024. And yeah, what a season it was. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until the next video, stay safe, go Hawks.